save almost $20 million on social items. The Kremlin is considering such budget plans for the next 2 years. The government needs this money to cover military expenses, which eat up every third ruble in the treasury, Bloomberg reports, citing a draft budget law that is being prepared for submission to the State Duma.
Spending on national defense and domestic security is projected to consume around 40% of Russia's total budget disbursement in 2025 as Putin continues to shift the economy to a war footing with the invasion of Ukraine already deep into its third year. That's greater than the combined allocation for education, healthcare, social policies and the national economy, according to the budget draft that's likely to be submitted to Russia's parliament soon, from a publication by Bloomberg.
The Kremlin continues to increase spending on the war, despite the fact that, according to Western intelligence services, Russian aggression has already led to hundreds of thousands of casualties among Russians.
To fulfill the defense order, the budget injects additional trillions of rubles into the economy every year. Last year, budget expenditures amounted to 32 trillion rubles. This year, 37 trillion were approved, but the plan has already grown to 38 trillion. Next year, it was planned to reduce expenses, but instead, they will grow to 41.5 trillion rubles. From a publication by Important Stories.
The Central Bank of Russia raised the rate to 19% per annum on September the 13th. Over the past 10 years, it was higher only immediately after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And the key rate is the main instrument with which the central bank influences the economy and inflation. The worsening situation is indicated by the fact that in October, the central bank is again preparing to raise the key rate to 20%, economists say.
Companies are starting to, to really complain out loud and very forcibly. That's this cost of borrowing is hurting them badly. So remember, these are companies that are also having to pay a lot more for employees. Their wage bills are going up a lot more in real terms over the last several years because they're competing with, with the state, the military-industrial complex, at a time when there's already the decline in the labor force anyway.
Inflation is already driving businesses into debt, experts say, and ordinary Russians are taking out loans at huge interest rates. They will have to pay their entire salary every month for a flat or a car.
Half of the salary goes on food alone, and if you take into account that 70% of ordinary people have a mortgage and large consumer loans in the form of car loans and so on, then you could say that people are starving.
The rise in prices needs to be stopped, and probably some political events that lead to inflation also need to be stopped.
By political events, Russians mean the war against Ukraine, but the Kremlin has no intention of ending it, and in order to continue financing its aggression in 2025, they will cut benefits, pensions and other forms of state support for citizens. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Штангелов, UATV News.